I had always seen the Museum of the Nonexistent as a haven of tranquility, a sanctuary for silent contemplation, where people came to meditate on the void. But the arrival of the black painting shattered that peace, bringing with it an atmosphere of ominous foreboding. It was a Tuesday morning, just another day in the museum, when I first noticed it. The painting was positioned in the most remote wing, almost hidden, but as soon as my eyes fell upon it, a cold grip seized my heart. It was a black so deep and absolute that it seemed to suck in every speck of light, daring to come near. As I approached, a sense of vertigo overwhelmed me. The black began to pulse, as if breathing, and a faint, almost imperceptible hiss crept into my ears. It was as if the painting wanted to communicate, to transmit a dark, primal message. Unknowingly, I found myself inches from the canvas. My hands trembled, my mind screamed to flee, but I was paralyzed. That's when the black began to expand. It spread like ink on a white sheet, engulfing everything in its path. In moments, the room had vanished, replaced by an impenetrable void. In the darkness, I sensed stealthy movements. Something cold and slimy brushed against my leg. Then I felt something approach my face, its breaths humid and heavy. Whispering voices spoke of ancient fears, secrets buried in the darkest recesses of the human soul. The terror I experienced then was beyond imagination. I was at the mercy of incomprehensible forces, exposed to a reality the human mind cannot conceive. My consciousness writhed, desperately seeking an escape from this hell. That darkness seemed an endless labyrinth, a sea of terror swallowing me mercilessly. I felt the presence of those dark entities drawing nearer, their whispering voices growing clearer, more insistent. They spoke of endless pain, broken existences, souls lost in the dark. Desperate, I felt my mind teetering on the brink of madness. In a moment of clarity, I realized I had to find a way to escape this eternal torment. Closing my eyes, I tried to focus on the reality I knew, the world I had left behind. I prayed, hoped, called upon every force I could imagine. Then something incredible happened. A light, weak but persistent, began to seep through the veil of darkness. I clung to that glimmer of hope, pushing towards the growing brightness. With every fiber of my being, I strove to reach that light, to return home. When I finally crossed that threshold, I found myself back in the museum. A wave of relief washed over me, but it was short-lived. Looking around, I realized something was terribly wrong. The museum appeared the same, but the colors were dull, everything blurred. The voices of people were distorted, as if coming from afar. My heart raced as I grasped the truth. I had never left the painting. I turned slowly as terror clutched my throat. The canvas, once an abyss of impenetrable darkness, had undergone a horrifying metamorphosis. It was no longer black, but had transformed into a kind of opaque mirror, showing the real world I came from. The realization hit me like a punch in the stomach. I was in a parallel reality, a cruel and twisted imitation of my world. I was trapped in a distorted version of my existence, a prison created by that cursed black painting. The realization of being a mere shadow, an entity created to sow terror in the real world, crushed me under its weight. I was doomed to live forever in this distorted world, while my true essence suffered somewhere in the depths of the painting's dark abyss. With a terrifying smile, I understood my new, dreadful purpose: to lure others into the realm of the non-existent, to trap them in the painting, just as I had been trapped. The museum became my hunting ground. The painting, now a mirror onto the real world, allowed me to watch, to observe the souls of all those visitors who dared to come near, unaware of their fate. A cold smile painted my face. I had become the herald of horror, the messenger of an unimaginable destiny.